Hello and welcome to our Nigerian viewers and viewers across the world. This is Galaxy TV News. Let's get things started. Police arrest 35-year-old man conveying 53 AK-47 guns and 260 rounds of live ammunition in Nasarawa State. Plus on the news, Omobashola Emiko has been crowned as 21st Olu of Warri Kingdom. And outside Nigeria, Russian-backed government forces target Idlib province, killing 4 children in a series of attacks on rebel stronghold in Syria. We have details in just a moment. And now, wherever you're watching from around the world, we are live from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. I am Kelly Egiga. On our first story, 2 bandits have been reportedly shot dead in a gun battle between the hoodlums and operatives of the Ogun State Police Command on Saturday. 2 AK-47 rifles were equally recovered from the bandits during the crossfire. The spokesman of the command, Abimbola Oyeyemi, told newsmen on Saturday in Abeokuta the incident happened at the Bere Forest along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Now, according to him, the operatives, following a tip-off on activities of arm-bearing bandits, had embarked on combing operation in the forest. He said while men of the command were combing the forest, the hoodlums, on a sight of the policemen, opened fire on them, leading to a gun battle between them. The police spokesman said the operatives, led by the DPO Owodegba Division, Olushola Oniyiko, killed one of the hoodlums during the gun battle, and another corpse was recovered later. Still tracking security stories, the Nasarawa State Police Command says it has arrested a 35-year-old man, Abubakar, who was conveying 53 AK-47 magazine guns and 260 rounds of live ammunition to an unknown destination in the state. The Police Public Relations Officer of the command made the disclosure in an interview with newsmen on Saturday in Lafia. He explained that a team of police officers on patrol intercepted the man at Akwanga local government area of the state where he was conveying the weapons and got him arrested. Away from security stories, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, says demands of the resident doctors who are currently on strike will be met. The minister's assurance is coming on the heels of the industrial action of the striking resident doctors, which has entered the 3rd week. Addressing journalists before entering another closed-door meeting with the striking doctors in Abuja on Saturday, Dr. Ngige averred that government is doing its best to ensure that the matter is resolved.
On the NAT side of NMA presentation on NAT side, we dealt with the issue of non-payment of salaries of some house officers on the platform of the IPs. We also dealt with the issue of non-payment of Medical Residency Training Fund, MRTF, outstanding for 2020 and the current 2021 allocation. We also did their non-payment of salaries of some house officers, of some officers on residents on IP's platform.
The minister also urged the medical professionals to call off their strike and report back to work on Monday.
I told you yesterday, we have reached agreement on most of the issues. And those agreements are agreements that we will now start implementing, starting from the next working day, which is Monday.
Correspondent Nabuchi Oke Nabuchi reports that the meeting was still ongoing as at the time of filing this report. And now to other stories. The Nigeria Governors Forum (NGF) has denied alleged disbursement of 243.8 billion naira from the Paris Club refunds to state in the month of August. The head of media and public affairs of the forum, Abdulrazak Bello Barakindo, made the denial in a statement he issued in Abuja on Saturday. He described the allegations as a big lie and a figment of the imagination of its author, adding that a disbursement of 243.8 billion naira to state in the month of August came to the attention of the forum as a surprise. The forum reaffirmed that nothing can be farther from the truth, as this disbursement did not happen and could not have happened, as there are no further possibilities that they can happen now or in the future. And now to party politics. Ahead of the 2023 governorship elections in Kogi State, leaders and stakeholders of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have come up with a winning strategy to take over the state. Former Minister of Information, Professor Jerry Gana, who spoke at a retreat convened by the Kogi State PDP Renaissance held in Abuja Saturday, expressed determination of leaders of the party to oil the right machinery to ensure victory of the party at the polls. Decrying the sorry state of affairs in the state under the leadership of the All Progressive Congress APC, Professor Gana noted that the failure of the ruling party has made the work easier for the PDP.
Nigeria now we are 200 million plus. The growth rate, I'm just reminding you a few statistics. The growth rate of the population is about 3.5%. The youth are the majority. They form the majority, and the number of them are jobless, frustrated, sounding hopeless, and yet they have tremendous energy. Therefore, the most energetic part of the Nigerian population is frustrated. The one that have the power to be able to check everywhere, they are frustrated.
Also speaking, former Senate President Bukola Saraki appeals to all PDP members to work and live in unity to avoid evil perpetrators into the party. Dr. Saraki further pledged his commitment towards winning back Kogi State for the PDP in the next gubernatorial elections.
The only way that we can cherish their memory and their commitment who made the ultimate sacrifice. Some of them were not contesting for election, but they were just fighting for their party. And I believe that with that spirit, my own appeal is that we must all unite. And I'll tell you why we must unite. The other party, they know that they cannot go to the people with any record. All they want to do is to go and write results. And why do they do that? They look for states where there's not unity, disunity, factions. So that when they write it, they say, what do you expect? The party was not, the opposition was not united.
The critical stakeholders retreat holding today. The state level activities that will consult with other state actors who are not here today at the Kogi State headquarters, and the grassroots mobilization activities going across the 3 senatorial districts in Kogi State, integrating all our party faithfuls, the veterans since 1999 to date, and the young ones that we use in the elections of 2020.
The retreat convened by the Kogi PDP Renaissance was attended by party stalwarts from the North Central Geopolitical Zone, as well as the former governor of the state, Ibrahim Idris, amongst others. And away from party politics, the Ogiame Atuwatse III, formerly known as Omoba Shola Emiko, has been crowned as the 21st Olu of Warri Kingdom. This follows a series of activities lined up for the coronation of the monarch, who ascended the throne on Saturday. Now, shortly after his arrival at the venue of the coronation, all sons of Ishekiri were asked to remove their hat. One of the high points of the event was the selection of a ceremonial sword by the Olu while being blindfolded among 20 others. But one of the 21 swords, which bear the names of his 20 predecessors, is usually left unnamed. All right, so congratulations are in order to the Olu of Warri. Let's stay in the region, as the Joy Youths from the Niger Delta states have declared that President Muhammadu Buhari and the Minister of State for Petroleum, Timipre Silva, are no longer welcomed to the region over their roles in the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA. To get some perspective and analysis, Comrade Ebilade Ekerefe, National Spokesman, Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide, joins us live from the region, Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital to be precise. Comrade, good to see you. I wonder what could have possibly triggered such a declaration from your region.
Well, once again, thank you for having me. You are aware that the Ijaw Youth Council and other major critical stakeholders of the Niger Delta region, especially the governors of the South-South, are all in unison that the Petroleum Industry Act, should be pegged at 10% as agreed. Unfortunately, when the National Assembly passed the bill to 3%, you could see the outrage, that greeted that passage. So when the president came back, we're expecting him to take back the bill to the National Assembly for upward review, or at least give opportunities for stakeholders to air their views. But that didn't happen. The president went and signed the bill with the speed of light. So we are not comfortable because this is not the first time the president has demonstrated that what the people of the region want does not really matter. Their opinions does not really count. So we found it very, very annoying and very uncomfortable. And so that is why we said that we don't have any powers to stop the president and the minister from going into any parts of the country. But with the current mood of the Niger Delta, there could be possibilities that if they come, they will be booed and they will not be welcome. So that is the position.
All right. Yeah, so Mr. President had in several occasions said his administration means well for the Niger Delta people and region. He has also blamed some of the leaders in your region for the underdevelopment despite the federal government spending billions of naira in the region. Do you think leaders in your region should be held responsible?
We can't exonerate leaders. Leaders in this region have failed in the past. Nobody is trying to exonerate them or commend them for what has been done in the past. We know that. But what we are saying is that the president is now the commander-in-chief and was voted into power by the Nigerian people. So we also expect fair share, equitable distribution of wealth, and at the same time development in the Niger Delta. And if that is not done, we don't expect our people to be happy. So the president cannot see that he meant well for the Niger Delta people. Because up to this moment, we cannot really see what the president has done. All what we are seeing as an audio project, which is being perpetrated around. So that is the position.
Yes, comrade, I understand you issued a statement where you called on the Minister of State for Petroleum to apologize to the people of the Niger Delta region, rather than justifying the 3% for host communities. Do you think the minister, who is a son from the region, will be working against his own people?
Well, we don't want to believe that the minister is working against his own people. That is why we are saying that when important, critical laws or act of this nature is being signed, the region should be adequately consulted. That wasn't done, and the minister is from the region. So we had expected that town hall meetings or strategic engagement would have taken place to at least have the buy-in of the people in a very important bill that will do with their livelihood. So, but that didn't happen, and that is why we are still saying that what will pacify the people of the Niger Delta region now is for the Honorable Minister to come down to the region and hold meetings, engagements with leaders, stakeholders from this region as to why the agreed 10% was reduced to a paltry, agreed 10% was reduced to a paltry 3%. And also to explain to us the communities, that would also be regarded as oil-producing communities, because that is also not clearly spelled out in the PIA now.
Well, comrade, that's a good place to leave it. We hope the minister will heed to your calls. Comrade Ebilade Ekerefe, National Spokesman, Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide, we'd like to thank you most kindly for your perspective and analysis on the news.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful.
Yes, so there you go. You're watching the news on Galaxy TV. We are for a break, but in the second part, tributes continue to pour in for Former military governor of Oyo State, General Adetunji Idowu Olurinwo, has died at the age of 76. We'll tell you more on that story on the other side. Stay with us. Well, good to see you again. You're watching news on Galaxy TV. Now, for more updates and latest news, visit our website at www.galaxytvonline.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Galaxy TV Nigeria. You can interact with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Official Galaxy TV. If you have breaking news around you, you can avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. Simply share a story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment. And now to other stories. The former military governor of Oyo State, General Adetunji Idowu Olurinwo, has died at 76. The septuagenarian, born on December 3, 1944, was an indigene of Ilaro in Ogun State. A family source informed Galaxy TV News that he died at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Luth. Details about his death were still sketchy at the time of filing this report. Olurinwo, a former governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State, attended the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna, between 1967 and 1970. In the same vein, President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with the government and people of Ogun, Ekiti and Oyo State over the passing of the former military governor and administrator. In a statement issued on Saturday, Special Advisor to the President, Femi Adesina, said the President joined family, friends and professional colleagues in mourning the military officer who served the country meritoriously in his career, extending support when he was called upon as military governor in Oyo State and later as administrator in Ekiti State. Adesina said the former military governor was also outstanding as ECOMOG commander in Liberia. Meanwhile, the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde on Saturday also mourned the death of the former military administrator of the state. Makinde, who described the death of the late former Milad as painful, condoled with the people of Oyo State over the demise of Olurinwo, whom he described as one of the past administrators who shaped the image of Oyo State. A statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor indicated that Governor Makinde equally commiserated with the Governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, the people of Ogun State and the family. The Governor disclosed that the demise was the sunset for another great man and one of the first sets of leaders that Providence gave to Oyo State as its earliest stage. Let's shift our focus now to other stories, as government and other stakeholders in Nigeria have been advised to initiate appropriate action plans that will save the environment from imminent danger. A professor of environmental health sciences, University of Ibadan, Godson Ano, and others who spoke at the 449th inaugural lecture at the University of Ibadan admitted that the environment is under undue pressure. Correspondent Kunle Ojo tells us more.
Speaking on the topic, Nature's Blankets and God's Heritage Distress, who is the deliverer, Professor Annan disclosed that due to uncontrolled human activities, various components of the ecosystem have been polluted. Annan, the first indigenous professor of environmental health sciences in the institution, associated various health issues such as cancer, respiratory disease, and infections to amount of pollution people are exposed to in the air, water, soil, and food.
Atmospherically, as nature is inundated with several tons of physical, chemical, and biological pollutants, and this makes air pollution the major risk factor contributing to the global burden of disease. From the perspective of the different outdoor air pollution systems, based on especially some of our observations, the levels of these pollutants are several folds higher than the permissible limit, with measurable, palpable effects of health.
The inaugural lecturer noted that children and pregnant women are more vulnerable to adverse health effects of air pollution, with outcomes such as premature birth, birth defects, among others. The Dawn, however, called on government at all levels to prioritize environmental issues and provide adequate funding for monitoring and surveillance. The Zonal Director, National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, Southwest Zone, Elijah Udofia, and a senior technical assistant to the Registrar, Environmental Health Officers Registration Council of Nigeria, Abuja, Isa Adamu, corroborated the position of the Dawn that the environment was in distress.
The ecosystem must be restored. The entire broad spectrum of the environmental health must be taken seriously, especially that which borders on information, education, technology, policy, legal issues, and enforcement. We need a critical balance of people to save our planet from further decay.
Has a lot of impact in the future. Every little thing that we plant, the tree we are planting today is not going to grow today, into maturity today. It will take some time, but let's start today so that we can have a positive impact in the future.
So it is very evident that the environment is truly distressed, and the solution he has provided, actually when they are implemented, they will go a long way in alleviating the sufferings, the silent sufferings which Nigerians are being exposed to.
They called for a paradigm shift based on awareness rights from the early educational level on the need to protect the environment. From Ibadan, Kunle Ojo, Galaxy TV.
And in Kaduna State, the State Emergency Management Agency has reiterated its commitment towards providing documents that will help mitigate disasters in the future. Abubakar Hassan, the Executive Secretary of SEMA, says with the new contingency plan, residents of the state will understand what disaster management is and how to help prevent disasters in their communities. Addressing newsmen at a two-day program to review the plan, the Executive Secretary of Kaduna SEMA emphasized the need for his agency to get it right so as to have all relevant stakeholders on board, including the community members, towards a disaster-free society.
So immediately after the review, what do we expect to see? We expect to see a revamping of agencies looking into the responsibilities as relates to the performance of this particular document in the last few years, and also to see what we can do to drill down this information down to the lowest level, and that is the community. That's what we expect to do. Before now, our weakest link happens to be at the community level. So we want to take this down and really begin to bring out all of this from a bottom-top approach like we have already mentioned, so that communities really get this enshrined into their daily life.
Meanwhile, Professor Rabiu Abdul Salam and Professor Edwin Egusi, who are disaster risk experts, both from the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, say the contingency plan is an important document which will help respond to emergencies and disasters in Kaduna State.
The height of the insecurity, especially the kidnapping and the banditry. So I think that's the reason why we have to review this, and this meeting of yesterday and today, the meetings are going on in order to meet with all the stakeholders to make sure that the review process becomes holistic, so that at the end of the day we're going to have the contingency plan that will stand the test of time.
Of course, the contingency plan is a very useful document for responding to emergencies and disasters. Nobody prays for that to happen. But it is in anticipation of such a disaster, a catastrophe, that we put together a contingency plan. And there is an existing contingency plan in Kaduna State that was put together in 2019.
And now to health stories. Due to the impact of mosquito bites and dangerous illness, mosquitoes have been named among the world's deadliest flies that kills millions of people across the world. Despite being very small in size or tiny by looks, mosquitoes are the only predator in the history that have lived through centuries and caused death through vector-borne diseases like malaria. Correspondent Kunle Ojo. This report examines the place of mosquitoes in human lives and the prevalence of malaria. The report.
The world historic discovery on August 20, 1897, that female Anopheles mosquitoes transmit malaria led scientists across the world to better understand the deadly role of mosquitoes and devise effective interventions to stop them. The mosquito is perhaps the only predator in world history that has managed to thrive throughout the centuries, causing death and devastation through numerous vector-borne diseases, especially malaria. On 28 August 1897, Sir Roland Ross discovered that Anopheles mosquitoes were responsible for the transmission of the malaria parasite.
Mosquitoes, as we know, are agents that transmit different kinds of diseases, but in Africa, and especially in Nigeria, we have the Anopheles mosquito, which is a major transmitter of malaria, because it carries the Plasmodium parasite that causes malaria in a lot of places in Africa and Asia as well.
He attributed the prevalence of mosquitoes in Africa and Nigeria as a case study to the nature of the environment, which consists of bushes and jungles, thereby providing breeding opportunities for mosquitoes. According to Akomu, mosquitoes remain the major carriers of malaria parasite, which is the biggest problem facing the country.
Important to the well-being of Nigerians, because mosquito causes malaria, and malaria is the biggest problem, the biggest public health problem that Nigeria faces, in terms of the sense that Nigeria is endemic for malaria, and we have mosquitoes because we have a lot of bushes and jungles around us, and so we have breeding sites for mosquito everywhere. And as such, when these mosquitoes they already have parasites, the Plasmodium falciparum, that causes malaria.
Malaria, according to experts, remains one major cause of illness and death in Nigeria, particularly during the peak of the rainy season, when mosquito population increases tremendously. Experts believe that best way to checkmate this is to put a barrier between humans and mosquitoes, especially between the hours of dusk to dawn.
Malaria is an illness and death in Nigeria, particularly new during the peak of the rainy season when the mosquito populations increase dramatically. The best way to prevent malaria is to put a barrier between them and the mosquitoes that carry it, particularly during the hours from dusk till dawn.
Because malaria is a huge scourge in Nigeria. Nigeria alone contributes to about 1/4 of the malaria deaths in the entire world. That's a lot. So there's a lot of focus in Nigeria for mosquito, and Oyo State is particularly important because of our weather, our climate, and also because of our population. And the terrain of Oyo State is just very difficult to reach in many places. So
this explains why state governments across the federation, through their respective ministries and other agencies, partner with various national and international organizations in tackling the menace of malaria, whose source is from mosquitoes. In Oyo State, about 5 million insecticide-treated nets are currently being distributed across the 30 local government councils towards curtailing the menace of malaria.
The efforts at malaria elimination in Oyo so far is that over the past 10 years, when the government, the partners, the donors have been supporting the distribution of mosquito nets, as well as provision of commodities like anti-malarials, the drugs, the medicines, and also even the testing devices, the prevalence has dropped.
For the prevention and elimination of malaria in the country. Furthermore, we have adopted the use of electronic technology for a better and more efficient ITN's campaign process. We foresee a future where program data will be viewed real-time and decision-making will become quicker and more effective.
Experts believe the use of insecticide-treated nets would prevent pregnant women, children under 5 years and others from being easily affected by malaria scourge. Having recognized the negative role of mosquitoes in the well-being of people in Nigeria, what should be the way forward?
If we plan to do something about malaria, even other health issues, but especially malaria, we need to follow through. If we make commitments in terms of funding to support malaria eradication or elimination or control, we shouldn't just make it lip service. We shouldn't just say it because it's a policy statement. We should commit to it and bring out the money. We have a lot of support, especially from as far as Oyo State is concerned.
I will reassure you that the state will intensify effort in improving the healthcare seeking behavior of the populace and give the right message and information needed on the usage of insecticide-treated nets.
It is hoped that government on all levels in the country and other stakeholders will intensify more efforts towards making the environment safe and sustain the fight against malaria.
Away from health matters, the Federal High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has reserved judgment on the relief sought by the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS) to restrain the Rivers State government from enforcing the judgment it got over the collection of value-added tax (VAT) in the state. The FIRS lead lawyer Ruben Wanogo, in a motion on notice, told the court that his client had filed an appeal against the judgment of the court delivered on 9th August 2021, which declared that it is the Rivers State government and not the FIRS that is constitutionally empowered to collect VAT in the state. After listening to the arguments canvassed by both the lead lawyer to the state government and the FIRS lawyer, the presiding judge, Justice Pam, said the dates for ruling on the matter will be communicated to the parties.
What we have just done now is legal gymnastics that lawyers often engage in the courtroom. That's all. We have just advocated our respective positions before the court. So it is for the court now to look at our arguments, look at the facts we have placed before it, and take a position one way or the other.
The argument, as usual, is that they are on appeal, and therefore the valid judgment of this court should not be obeyed. And we find that a bit curious, and we had canvassed argument in opposition to their position. Besides, the law does not permit of a vacuum. The value-added tax law of Rivers State has come into operation. You cannot have a situation where the court haven't declared that the Federal Inland Revenue Services cannot collect VAT in Rivers State. The state itself cannot collect same thing.
Recall that the Rivers State House of Assembly had already passed the value-added tax bill of Rivers State into law, and the same bill had been duly assented to by the governor of the state on Thursday, 19th August 2021. Watching the news on Galaxy TV, let's take a moment and be back with more reports. Please stay with us. Welcome back. This is Galaxy TV News. The United States Consulate General in Lagos is supporting a series of professional development workshops for 100 primary and secondary school teachers drawn from across local government and communities in Oyo State over the next 12 months. The capacity development project tagged Ibadan Fund seeks to introduce the participating teachers to fun, creative and interactive teaching methods that enhance educational outcomes. Correspondent Kulojo tells us more.
The workshop seeks to integrate a variety of hands-on activities that provide the teachers a deeper understanding of new approaches of using arts to improve classroom instruction and student learning. In his remark, the acting U.S. Consul General Stephen Ibeli explained that integrating a variety of hands-on activities, including arts, in classroom instruction will engender critical thinking, creativity and collaborative learning. According to him, the U.S. mission remains committed to supporting a more educated population by increasing and strengthening the capacity of Nigerian teachers. The representative of the 1 Million Teachers Initiative at the event also highlighted the relevance of the training.
And a wonderful project that is teaching teachers and giving them skills to impart to their students to enable more effective classroom teaching. We are investing in the future of the Nigerian generation vis-a-vis the teachers. I think all of you would probably think back to a teacher that influenced you, a teacher that helped you, a teacher that set you on the right path of life. And this is what we're trying to do, to give teachers very practical skills to be able to bring those to the classrooms, to do little art, imbue art into their teaching, imbue a little bit of creativity, and so to really inspire the students' imagination. Teachers work extraordinarily hard in this country.
We're all in agreement as to the primacy of teachers when it comes to enhancing student learning. If you raise the capacity of teachers, you raise the capacity, the quality of education. So this, we're trying to create literally what you would probably call rangers or special forces when it comes to like teachers. High quality, highly educated, highly motivated, highly empowered teachers.
A cross-section of speakers and participants at the workshop lauded the initiative, adding that it will position teachers to be more productive.
For other creative means of, disciplining our children, you can make them memorize things, educational content, positive, make them repeat positive confessions about themselves, positive statements, make them do something creative. They'll probably feel like they're being punished, but at the end of the day, they're learning and they're having fun. Okay, there are better ways to correct a child. There are better ways to inform them about things. It's the same thing with your education system.
We should not be aggressive with our people. There are some teachers, when they are coming, maybe they have problems at home with their families or their husband. They are teaching us here that when you are coming to school, first of all, take that your problem, wrap it and throw it under your bed before coming to school.
The selection of the participants was done in conjunction with the Oyo State Universal Basic Education. From Ibadan, Kunle Ojo, Galaxy TV.
In Edo State, Governor Godwin Obaseki believes the civil service workers are the engine room and enablers of government policies and programs that enhances a robust economy. The governor was represented by his deputy, Philip Shaibu, at an ongoing training program organized by the state governments to enlighten over 280 fresh intakes that are critical in driving a productive system. He urged them to reflect on the training on their day-to-day operations.
Discover that you are engine room, you are going to be the engine room of a new private sector driven economy we want to establish in every state. So what it means is that you understand the feeling of the private sector, you must understand how to use the tools of civil service.
Earlier, the program resource person and head of service, Anthony Ekumbuwa, harped on the relevance of public workers in the state.
You are being given a unique opportunity today. For the next 4 weeks, we will tell you what the public service of civil service entails, what you need to do, what you should not be doing, and what you should be doing. I think that this applause this time must go to the government.
Now to other stories, youth organizations in the Middle Belt region have expressed concerns over insecurity and economic situation of the region. Coordinator of the Forum Presidents of Youth Organizations in the region, Terence Kwanum, expressed the concerns in a communique issued at the end of their Central Working Committee meeting in Abuja. The youth frowned at the gross marginalization of the region, calling on the present administration to write its name in gold and remedy mistakes of former administrations by balancing employment, federal appointments and general development to accommodate the region.
An economic situation of the Middle Belt states and came to the conclusion that the region has been badly affected by unfavorable policies of successive federal administrations in the country, which have left the region grossly marginalized in terms of youth empowerment, empowerment for young people, and general development of the Middle Belt. The Middle Belt is currently rated as the region with the highest rate of youth unemployment in the country.
And now operatives of Vigilante Group in Ehime Mbano local government area of Imo State have successfully apprehended the notorious armed robbery kingpin identified as Bukati, who has been terrorizing the people of the community for a while. According to the CSO of the community, who was at the police headquarters to hand over Bukati's corpse to the police on Friday, Bukati had been on the wanted list of the community long before now. The CSO said the kingpin, alongside his two dangerous cohorts, Stone and Pharisee, have been on the run for a while now, only for him to resurface back to the community. Upon tip-off, operatives of the Vigilante Group stormed his residence to effect his arrest. On sighting them, Bukati rushed in, brought out a pistol and shot at them. The group returned fire and consequently he was brought down. Correspondent Ajibade Awofeso reports about the police. Public Relations Officer Michael Abatan, while receiving the corpse, confirmed that the pistol is one of the guns carted away when unknown gunmen attacked the Ehime Mbano Police Divisional Headquarters a few months ago. This is Galaxy TV News. Let's switch gears for a moment and join our international desk for more reports. Stay with us.
Welcome to news from the international scene. Russia-backed government forces have targeted the village of Kansfara, south of Idlib province, killing 4 children in a series of attacks on the rebel stronghold in northwestern Syria. The children's mother survived with a baby during the attack. Her husband was standing near the village and rushed to his wife after hearing the sound of the attack on Friday to find his children had been crushed under the rubble of his house. Attacks that hit another house resulted in the injury of 3 civilian farm workers, and 2 other children were wounded as a result of artillery fire that targeted western Aleppo province bordering Idlib. 2 children were visiting the grave of their father in the village of Kafr-Naha, west of Aleppo province. One of them, an 8-year-old, was taken to a Turkish hospital. Mustafa Al-Uzain, an activist living in the village, told newsmen there was a Russian military reconnaissance plane since 5 in the morning in the skies of Kansfara, and after half an hour, the attack began. Laser missile attacks, known as Kansnopol, has recently been a common method to strike southern Idlib, where reconnaissance planes give precise coordinates to launch rocket attacks. The attacks came a day after 5 children were killed south of Idlib as a result of similar strikes, followed by Russian air raids on the village of Inshib, west of Idlib city. On Wednesday, 3 civilians, including a child, were killed in a rocket attack targeting Turkish-controlled Afrin north of Aleppo, which is connected to Idlib province. Moving on to Australia, police in the Australian cities of Melbourne and Sydney have clashed with thousands of people protesting against COVID lockdowns in Melbourne. Mounted officers used pepper spray when elements of a 4,000-strong rally broke through the police lines. Police arrested 218 people and at least 7 officers were injured. In Sydney, where lockdown measures have extended for another month, more than 1,000 officers dispersed protests. It came as the state of New South Wales, of which Sydney is the capital, recorded 825 new locally acquired cases for any Australian territory in a 24-hour period. In Brisbane, the capital of Queensland, more than 2,000 protesters gathered before holding a largely peaceful march. Police in the state of Victoria condemned the violence that broke out in Melbourne on Saturday. All those arrested face fine of $5,452 Australian dollars for breaching COVID regulations, police said. 3 people were also charged with assaulting police. Stay-at-home order were extended across Victoria on Saturday in a bid to contain a widening outbreak of COVID cases. The protests in Sydney were smaller, with about 250 people taking part. Deputy New South Wales Police Commissioner Mal Nylon told reporters that 1 officer had been injured after being dragged into a road by a protester and that 47 arrests have been made. He said police have stopped about 38,000 cars heading into the city centre and handed out 260 infringement notices to people across the state suspected of breaching lockdown regulations. He called the actions of the protesters deplorable, saying the police response was not about stopping free speech but stopping the spread of coronavirus. Still on the international scene, moving on to Europe, Greece has installed a 40-kilometer fence and surveillance system on its border with Turkey amid concern over a surge of migrants from Afghanistan. Greece Citizen Protection Minister Michalis Chrysokondias said on a visit to the region. Greece Citizens Protection Minister Michalis Chrysokondias said this on a visit to the region of Evros on Friday. They cannot wait passively for the possible impact their borders will remain inviolable. His comments came as Turkey called on European countries to take responsibility for Afghan migrants. In a telephone conversation with Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said the sharp increase in people leaving Afghanistan could pose a serious challenge for everyone. The rapid takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban, an Islamist militant group, has left some fearing for their lives and seeking to escape the country, often by any means necessary. Mr. Chrysokondias said the crisis had created new possibilities for migrant flow into Europe. Greece, which was on the front line of the migrant crisis in 2015, when more than 1 million fleeing war and poverty in the Middle East crossed from Turkey into the European Union, has said it may send back any Afghan that arrive illegally through the country. Of those who arrived in Greece during the migrant crisis, many traveled further north throughout Europe, but about 60,000 have remained in the country. Lastly, from the international scene, Manny Pacquiao, the 8-time world boxing champion and senator of the Philippines, takes on Cuban Eudenis Hugues in Las Vegas on Saturday night in a high-stake fight that could kickstart his campaign to be his country's next president. While 42-year-old Pacquiao has been focusing on politics over the last 2 years, reclaiming his former boxing title as a welterweight champion of the world would serve as a reminder to Filipinos of the rags to riches life story of a man who won their hearts and votes during his athletic prime. The Philippines goes to the poll to choose a new president to replace self-styled tough guy Rodrigo Duterte in May 2022. And while Pacquiao has yet to say so himself, his intention to run for the top job has long been an open secret. Until recently, Pacquiao was well positioned for a presidential bid. He became the president of Duterte's political party, PDP-Laban, in December 2020, and it seemed the machinery behind Duterte was gearing up for Pacquiao. Duterte himself even referred to the boxer as the next president of the Philippines. But Duterte, who is only allowed to serve a single 6-year term, risks possible trouble when he steps down in less than a year. An international criminal court complaint against him for crimes against humanity is moving forward, and the court may order his arrest. Right groups opposed to his violent war on drugs have also promised to launch similar lawsuits with local courts as soon as he loses legal immunity. And that's it for news from the international scene.
And now to wrap things off, let's join the entertainment desk.
Welcome to Entertainment News. Rapper CDQ has taken to his Instagram page to offer a prayer for his followers. The rapper prayed that his followers would never be in a condition where they can't speak out because their next meal is in someone's hands. CDQ added that cowards would rather serve their mouth than their nation. He wrote, "This prayer is a very strong one. Cowards would rather serve their mouth than serve the nation." Now, in other news, friends and family of singer Sam Sultan are offering prayers to God to mark his 40 days death anniversary. The singer passed on July 11th after battling with cancer. In a post shared on her Instagram page this morning, Farida, the widow of the singer, expressed sadness at losing the singer whom she described as a hero. In a post, Farida mentioned that it has been so hard to accept that she will be living without him, but she has chosen to accept surrender to the will of Allah. And finally, on entertainment news, Britney Spears is under investigation for allegedly battering one of her longtime housekeepers during an argument over the singer's dogs. The housekeeper claims Britney slapped her phone away from her grasp after she took one of her dogs to the vet, according to TMZ. The alleged incident occurred at Britney's house, and Ventura County Sheriff's deputy responded. Britney's employees reportedly told the cops that she took one of a singer's dogs to get checked out. She claimed she did this because there were issues with the treatment of the pet. She claimed upon her return, Britney confronted her and they got into a disagreement about the dog's health. The housekeeper filed a report at the sheriff's station after the alleged incident. But Britney and her team denied the claims made against her and said the housekeeper is making it all up. The deputies attempted to get in touch with Britney to get a side of the story, but she would not speak to them. Meanwhile, an official at the Sheriff's Department said the investigation is still ongoing as its outcome will determine whether or not a misdemeanor battery charge against Britney will be filed. The investigation follows just after Britney scored a major victory in the ongoing conservatorship case. Her dad, Jamie, agreed to step her down as conservator of her estate earlier this month. And that'll be all on entertainment news.
The entertainment desk does it for us, but for more updates and latest news, visit our website at www.galaxytvonline.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/GalaxyTV Nigeria. You can follow, interact with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at officialGalaxyTV. If you have breaking news around you, you can avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. Simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818 666 669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment. And that's your Galaxy TV News at this time. On behalf of the production team and everyone here, thank you so much for your company. We urge you to please keep safe. I am Kelly Egiga, and I will see you again next time. Bye.